Hello everyone, I hope you're well. Welcome to our next snippet. So previously we did snippet 67 and now we're going to do 68 to coordinate with that. So I've stamped the bottom exactly like we did in 67 with the branched heart. So exactly with that I did with 67, we've stamped the bottom of the branched heart for 68 as well. But we want it to look a little bit different. So what I'm going to do is, again, I didn't get the colour out, which was a bit daft of me. So the colour I want will be the last colour I get. You watch. I told you, the last colour I went to. I knew it would be. There we go. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to use the little floral again from the branched heart. And this time I'm going to stamp the floral with a touch of the green and then warm breeze for the flower head. So we'll add warm breeze for the flower head. And then I'm just going to stamp the floral just in different directions. So I'm going to have first generation and second generation, and then I'm going to repeat that. So I'm using verdant, which is the green, and then warm breeze. Doesn't matter which you use. These are permanent ink pads, so but you can use your oxides as well, but remember those are not a permanent ink pad. So I'm just adding the stamping just here to my piece. So let's have another green, and let's just have a piece of copier paper because I don't want them all to go below. So we'll just have a piece of copier paper and then we'll stamp the ink, the green, and then we'll use warm breeze. There we go. And then once again, we'll stamp the little floral and stamp in different directions. You can even have third generation if you wish, just to give that some depth. Just remember the depth. And then I'm going to add the floral again with the verdant, and then the warm breeze. Because don't forget, I want it to coordinate with the opposite page. So first generation, second generation, third generation. And I think we've got enough florals there, so that's absolutely fine. So that's permanent, so that's brilliant. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to take my Snippet stencil tweet, and it's just to show you just how versatile your products really can be. Do I want it sort of do I want it there? No, we're going to have it there. I'm going to be just umming and ahhing the whole time. So then I'm going to use Mermaid Lagoon Distress Oxide ink, and I'm going to use my blending brush. I've got some of these brushes on the way, so I will be having these blending brushes in the shop. So I'm going to, I could hold that down with low tack tape and put a piece of low tack tape, but I'm just going to go for it, and I'm just going to use the Mermaid Lagoon. And you can see that a lot of the ink is going onto the stencil, which you can then spritz with water and create another print. But what I'm doing is I'm adding layers of that colour, and with the brushes it allows me to add layers of ink, just light layers, without applying too much ink too soon. Now if you use a piece of low tack tape, you won't have to sort of, you know, have your hands in funny positions. You can just hold it in place with your low tack tape. So let's just have those legs like so. And then what I'm going to do is just grab a little more ink and then just go in a little bit darker, just with the ink. And you're going to get some on your finger if you do it this way. If you hold it down with low tack tape, then you won't get that. You can hold it down with low tack tape by rolling the low tack tape back on itself and adding it to the back. So then you can spritz that then with, spit it out, with water and take another print. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to use a separate brush. I haven't got a separate brush, so I'll use a piece of cut and dry foam. If you're going to use the oily inks, use a separate brush than the ones with your oxide inks. So I'm just going to add a little bit of darker colour, just around the edges, just with the warm breeze, just a little bit of that darker colour, just with the warm breeze. And then I'll just go with my distress ink again, just to blend. There we go. I'll hold this up so that you can see this, no problem at all. Just so you can see that we've then got our little bird in there perfectly. So I'm then, like we did in the previous one, I'm going to add a large circle, exactly like we did with the previous one. I'm just going to use a biro just to draw around my circle, and just stopping each time I touch a foliage piece or whatever, just to bring the circle down into the piece. And what you're doing is just creating a piece that coordinates beautifully with the piece that we did before, but we don't have to use our eco-lines. So what I'm going to do now is just take a little bit more, and I'm going to turn my card around just because it makes it a little bit easier. And then I'm going to take a little bit more of my Warm Breeze permanent ink, just to add a little bit more. And I just carry on and keep adding a touch more shading should I wish to. I'm just going to clean my fingers because I know what will happen. We'll get that all over the place. And then we'll take our little floral off there. And then we'll take the piece wording exactly like we did before. And we'll take our black ink, not that there's much room on here. Take our black ink, like so. And we'll add the word peace just inside the bird. And again, I don't need to press too hard, so I'll add that there. And why didn't I get the fern stamp out? Because I didn't. So we'll then get our fern stamp, which is TE3. We'll take the fern stamp, and this time, just to make it look a little bit different, we'll take a little bit of the verdant, ink the fern with the verdant, all over with the verdant because that's the lightest colour. And then I'm going to use Shady Lane, just a few touches of the Shady Lane. And then I'm going to add a little bit of fluff or whatever there, and I'm just going to, let's come in a little bit, and I'm going to add those here. Now again, this is another project that you could quite easily adapt for a Christmas card, because obviously you could do it in reds and just have a red floral. You could use one of the smaller florals I've got, but quite easy to adapt for that festive make. Now I've gone with a green for this one rather than the black as in the previous one, just because we've got that touch of green on the leaves. What I'm going to do then, because I'll remember this time before we add the splatters, I'm just going to add a little bit of the shading just around my circle, and when I bring the other one in, you will be able to see the difference and how you can sort of change things in a different direction just slightly, and you get a completely different look. So let's just, where's my kitchen roll? I thought I'd got some kitchen roll. We'll just wipe it on my hand for now, and we'll just blend that out just to give a little bit of shading, just like so. Just give that a touch of shading. Just wipe that, and then we're going to take our white gel pen, and don't forget this is a snippet of an idea, so it's just giving you a quick idea. So like I did before, I'm just going to add some touches of white just to my branch here and there, just to give some little touches, just because it really adds something to the design, just to add those touches of the white. It's perfect here. I don't need to add much, it's just works nicely. So what I'm going to do then, couldn't find it. I'm going to take my Take Flight stamp set, and we're just going to add a little bit of text, and I'm just going to add a little bit of text with the grey, the Versifying Clair Morning Mist. And the Verdant, the Shady Lane and the Morning Mist are colours that I tend to use a great deal, and that's why I've sort of added them to the shop. So I'm just going to add a little bit of stamping just sort of here and there, and can you see how I am curling my stamp a little bit, just so that I just add little touches of that text to our bird. So let's just place that out of the way. So that's the Morning Mist. And obviously when you let things settle, you can add a little bit more white to your design, just a little bit more. As the more it dries, it takes that white a little bit easier for you, no problem at all, if you let your project dry a little bit. Let's add some splatters. So we'll just add some splatters to our design. There we go. Let's clear up our little bit of mess. And then if we bring in our Snippet album or journal, you can see that when you place that on there, that will coordinate beautifully with your project. And I'm trying to show you that it doesn't matter if you haven't got the same products as me, like the Ecolines, you can have a different effect with your inks. So this one, the circle goes all the way around the branch, and this one doesn't. So you can just change it up a little bit and you get a different feel with your project. And that is Snippet 68, and I hope you enjoyed it. Love to all. Bye for now.